Masondo says government is concerned about the spiraling debt and its service costs. He says government wants to rein in public expenditure and will not commit to new long-term spending when they receive temporary revenue.
Our orientation is that let's unlock the potential of this economy, because if we do so, we'll be able to create jobs, we'll be able to set better conditions for us to generate revenue in order to deal with some of the fiscal imbalances that we have around debt, deficit, and so forth and so forth.
Some MPs have questioned the non-allocation of additional funds to Eskom. The National Treasury, however, says the power utility should be able to use the financial support it has received in the past to deal with its problems.
I think from our point of view, what the government has done is, of course, provided Eskom with equity support a few years ago of 230 billion, which is disbursed over a 10-year period. And of that amount, 136 billion has already been disbursed. And then in addition to that, we approved a special dispensation for Eskom to access additional guarantees that will allow them additional guarantees of 42 billion in this year and another 25 billion in the next fiscal year. And of course, that then one would think would give them the room to undertake the kind of operational reforms that they need in order to deal with the instability in the power system.
Others want a tough stance on public sector wage bill, which is also putting a strain on the national fiscus. However, the National Treasury says it does not take part in salary negotiations.
In the language of tough love is simply meaning that at some point we should say no, and at some point we should demand some kind of value returns in any of the state companies that we support. And yeah, so it's not going to be easy. Now, whether this can be applied to public sector wage bill is another thing. But the reality is that what this MTBPS is doing is presenting the facts as they are in terms of the challenge. And as one can imagine, we are not the key lead department in terms of negotiations with unions around the labor. I mean, the settlement that must be reached. Our role obviously is to make sure that there's resources. Our role is to ensure that the mandate committee of government is aware of the challenges from a financing and funding point of view, and we did that.
The MTBPS highlights electricity, transport, tourism, water, telecommunications, and infrastructure as critical to economic recovery. Lula Mamatya, SABC News, Parliament.